Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson about humor. Humor is one of the best things in life, in my opinion. I love humor. I love it when I'm able to laugh. I like it when I can make other people laugh. Humor is probably one of the coolest things about being a human being. I just love it when someone tells me a good joke. I like it when someone does something that makes me smile. So, humor is the topic for today. I hope you're ready to learn a lot of English. I hope that you enjoy this English lesson about humor. Joke. Probably the most common thing that people think of when they talk about humor is a joke. A joke is something funny that you say to someone that makes them laugh. If I was to tell this joke, I would say, how do you get a squirrel to like you? You look at the bottom there, I have a picture of a squirrel. And then the answer is act like a nut. So in English, a nut is something that falls from a tree. So you can have walnuts, chestnuts. There's all different kinds of nuts, acorns, and squirrels love to eat them. But in English, when you act like a nut, it means to act kind of funny. So the word has two meanings. So the joke is funny. By the way, jokes aren't funny when you have to explain them. But the joke is funny because the word nut has two meanings. How do you get a squirrel to like you? Act like a nut. Jokes are the best. I love it when someone tells me a good joke. I like it when someone is able to think of something funny or they've heard a joke. By the way, that's a common question in English. You might say to someone, have you heard any good jokes lately? So I just used the phrase to tell a joke. This is how we talk about jokes as someone is saying them. You tell a joke. When I go to a party, if I know a joke, I might tell that joke to someone. So we use the verb to tell when we talk about jokes. You tell a joke to someone. When I was a kid, my cousins would visit in the summer, and one of my cousins was really good at telling jokes. He always knew a few really good jokes, and he would tell funny jokes when he visited. We also have the phrase to get a joke. So what this means is if you understand the joke. If someone tells me a joke and I don't know why it's funny, I don't get the joke. I would say, I don't get the joke. I don't get it. But if someone tells me a joke and I laugh, then I get the joke. It means I understand it. So this doesn't mean to receive. We're using the verb to get to mean understand. When you get a joke, it means that you understand and you laugh. It's important that when someone tells a joke that you get the joke. And then, of course, this has been mentioned a few times already in the chat. There's something in English called a dad joke. A dad joke is a joke that's funny, but only to the person who is telling it. And it's usually the dad. So a lot of times in a family, a dad will tell really, really bad jokes, jokes that aren't that funny. And the kids will be like, oh, dad, that is not funny, or that is just a bad joke. Here's a good one. I have a joke about pizza, but it's too cheesy. So again, this joke is funny because pizza has cheese on it. Pizza is very cheesy. But in English, the word cheesy is also used to describe something that isn't funny or isn't cool or that's kind of odd. So the joke itself is cheesy. So a little play on words there. I'll talk about that phrase in a little bit as well. So we have the word comedy in English, and we use this to describe a number of things. When you go and watch a movie, it can be a comedy. If you've seen the movie Minions, it's a comedy. It's a movie that's designed to make you laugh. When you watch a TV show, you might watch a sitcom. That's short for situational comedy. So it's a TV show that is written and performed and recorded for you to watch in order to laugh. The entire design is so that it will make you laugh. So when we use the word comedy, we're talking about a movie or a TV show or a play. something that is created for you to watch and to make you laugh. We also have something called stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy is something that you go and listen to at a club, a comedy club. A person will stand up front with a microphone and they will tell jokes that they wrote themselves. And the audience will sit and they'll have something to drink and something to eat, and they'll listen to the stand-up comedy and hopefully they laugh. The person who does this is called a stand-up comic or a stand-up comedian, because they do stand the whole time. When you go to see stand-up comedy, the person doesn't sit. It's usually one person standing with a microphone, telling jokes, telling little funny stories, making you laugh. This is a stand-up comic named Trevor Noah. He also has a TV show, I think, now. I'm not sure, though. I don't stay up late enough at night to be sure. And here is the fundamental concept of humor, I guess. It's to make you laugh. When you laugh, you are indicating that you are happy. It's a physical response that we do as humans. When we hear something funny or when we see something funny, we laugh. So notice this person is laughing. When you hear someone laugh, it can make you laugh as well. That's another funny thing about humans. When someone smiles or laughs, it can make another person smile or laugh. But certainly jokes, comedies, everything that has to do with humor has to do with making people laugh. And then we have a couple other words for laughter. We have giggle. Do you want me to say that again? We have giggle. We usually use this to talk about when little kids laugh. Little kids sometimes giggle a lot. So laughing is like, ha, ha, ha. And giggling is like, that was a bad example. But anyways, it's just another form of laughing. Usually we talk about giggling when we're talking about little kids. Little kids, when they laugh, it sometimes sounds a little bit different, and we would say that it's a giggle. And then we have the word chuckle. When you chuckle, it just means like, it's kind of like a small laugh. If you're sitting and talking to people, if someone tells a funny story or a joke, it might make you chuckle. So you can chuckle, you can giggle, you can laugh. These are all kind of synonyms of each other. It's the funny thing humans do when they hear something funny. We have a phrase in English, laughter is the best medicine. And I'm not sure if this has been proven scientifically, but there's something really, really good about laughter. When you laugh, it makes you feel better. If you spend time with friends and someone tells a few jokes and someone makes you laugh, it makes you feel better for the rest of the day. So in English, we have this phrase, laughter is the best medicine. When you're not feeling well, you can take medicine to make you feel better. When you're not happy, laughter is a good medicine. Laughter can make you feel much happier. I 100% agree with this. When I go to a meeting at work and when we enjoy the meeting and someone is really funny in the meeting, it's good medicine. So I've used this phrase a few times so far in the lesson. We say that something makes me laugh. That makes me laugh. It makes me laugh when people fall down on the ice. I shouldn't laugh when that happens. But you might watch videos on YouTube where people slip and fall, or where things happen to people and it makes you laugh. This is the phrase we use. You can describe a person this way too. You can say, Joe's great. He makes me laugh. I like hanging out with Joe. There's a phrasal verb, by the way. I like hanging out with Joe because he makes me laugh. So you could say, jokes make me laugh. Watching sitcoms make me laugh. All of those phrases are correct in English. We have another way to describe joking around, and it's to kid someone. I know there's a kid in this picture, but when little kids tell us jokes, sometimes we say they're kidding around. If I was to say to someone, oh, you left the lights on your car, and if they get up to go turn them off, I could say, oh, I'm just kidding. I kid. I'm just kidding. I just told you that to be funny. It's not very funny to tell someone a lie, but you can see where I'm going with this. When you kid someone, it means you tell them funny things. We have a phrase in English, to be silly. So this person is using a banana as if he's an undercover police officer. By the way, I do have a lot of bananas in a earlier video this week. If you do a search for the lesson on do, did, doesn't, it was a lesson on the verb and a lesson on bananas as well. It was a little bit silly. We use the word silly to describe someone who is doing something funny. You might, if you're a teacher, have students in your class who are silly. You might have a brother or sister who's always silly. They're always telling jokes. They're always acting funny. They're always doing things to make people laugh. If someone does that, we usually say that they are being silly. Sometimes we use the phrase to joke around. When I go to a family reunion, my one uncle likes to joke around. He's always doing silly things. He's always making people laugh. He likes to joke around. This doesn't mean just telling jokes. When you joke around, you might act silly. You might put a banana on your head like this girl. You might tell jokes. That is part of it as well. But to joke around, it's always nice to be around people who like to joke around. It makes your day a little nicer. And then we also use the phrase to crack a joke. When you crack a joke, it means you tell a joke. Often, though, this is just a funny little phrase or sentence. It doesn't need to be an entire joke. Sometimes I sit in a meeting and there's one colleague who will crack jokes during the meeting. When the person leading the meeting says certain things, that person will lean over and crack a joke. So to crack a joke means to tell a joke, but also, to be clear, it can mean to just say something funny. Sometimes in the chat during these lessons, people will crack jokes. In fact, there was a little joke here. Vitor just said, Bob always finds a way to put a banana on his lessons. So that was Vitor cracking a joke. That's a perfect example. Thanks, Vitor, for that. It means to say something witty or funny to someone else. And we have the phrase sense of humor. When you have a sense of humor, it means that you like humor. You like to laugh. You like hearing jokes and you laugh when you hear them. It means when someone does something funny, you don't get mad at them. Sometimes people do funny things and you get annoyed. But if you have a good sense of humor, it means you like it. If a student in my class is acting silly, and it's a time during the lesson where that's okay, I have a good sense of humor. I don't mind that. But when a student does silly things, when it's a serious time in class, I don't enjoy that. Then they might say, oh, come on, you need to have a better sense of humor. It's like, no, not right now. Witty. When someone is witty, they are able to think of funny things very quickly. A witty person can listen to a conversation and make little comments that are funny. They are really smart and they can think very quickly and they can make jokes from what they are hearing. We would say that that person is extremely witty. It is fun to be around witty people. Witty people make fun little comments that make you smile or laugh. We have something called a practical joke. A practical joke is a joke that you do to someone like this. So here we have a woman who's stepping on the scale to see how much she weighs. And her husband, I'm assuming this is her husband, is playing a practical joke on her. He's putting his foot on the scale and it will make her think she weighs more than she is. He's playing a practical joke on her. That's the verb we use. Another common practical joke is to put a sign on someone's back, a piece of paper with tape, and you put a sign on someone's back that says, kick me or something. Don't actually do this. But a practical joke is when you play a little joke on someone. The most common one that you might see on a TV show is to put a cup of water or a pail of water on top of a door. And then when someone opens the door, it falls on them. We would consider that a practical joke. So it's like a physical joke that you do to someone else. I don't always find these funny. I don't find this totally funny. This is kind of funny. But sometimes practical jokes go too far and then people get angry. Dry humor. So dry humor is when the joke is funny, but it's not super funny. Here's a little comic strip and the person says, "Can I take a picture?" And the security person says, "Sure." And then he says, "Cheers." And he walks away with the picture. So this is, again, a little joke. By take a picture, the security guard thought he meant, get his phone and take a picture. But what the person meant was, can I actually grab the picture and take it? So we would consider this dry humor because instead of laughing, you might just go, like, it might not make you laugh out loud. It might not make you laugh uproariously. There's a huge English word for you. Dry humor is usually like a little bit funny. It's similar to a dad joke, I think. Funny. So I'm not sure why I didn't have this word earlier in the lesson. We use the word funny to talk about things that make you laugh. If someone wears a wig and some funny glasses, I use the word funny just to describe this person. You might say this person is funny, or you might say it was funny when he wore the gray wig and the glasses, or that joke was funny. I like watching funny movies. When I watch funny movies, they make me laugh. I've watched too many serious TV shows. I need to watch something funny now. The word funny is very useful in English. You should learn it and learn all the different ways to use it. I just used about 6 of them there. So it would be, we use the word funny for things that aren't fun. We use it to describe things that are odd as well. Like a funny thing happened on the way to work. I slipped on the ice and drove the car in the ditch. That's not funny at all. It's just abnormal. So learn this word and all its many meanings. We have the word hilarious. When something is hilarious, it means it's extremely funny. Let me say the word one more time for you. Hilarious. Hilarious. This is a hard word for English learners to pronounce sometimes because the H is sort of said. Hilarious. I'm overpronouncing it now. Hilarious. Hilarious. The H is in the back of my mouth. But when something is really, really funny, you would say that it's hilarious. That movie was hilarious. It was hilarious when I watched Bob's Lesson because there were so many bananas in it. It was hilarious. So hilarious means really, really funny. When someone gets angry, when you do something funny to them, or when you make fun of them, we would say he can't take a joke or she can't take a joke. This is my standard slide for angry man. This is one of the only pictures I can find of an angry person. But let's say you think it would be funny to step on the scale while someone else is on it, and then that person gets angry at you. In the picture I showed earlier, there was a woman on a scale and a man putting his foot on the back, so she would think she's heavier than she is. If she got angry because of that, we would say she can't take a joke. Okay? So when you can't take a joke, it means you get angry when someone does something to you that maybe is funny. It's depends on the situation a lot. You can make a funny face, by the way. This guy is making a funny face. Often adults will make funny faces to young children because it will make them laugh. One way to make, a baby, at a certain age, babies start to smile and giggle. One of the things that will make them smile or giggle is if you make a funny face. If you make a funny face, then it usually will make a kid laugh. It'll make adults laugh too sometimes. A play on words. Often a joke will involve a play on words. A play on words is when if a word has two meanings, you can make a joke out of it. This joke is, how do you fix a cracked pumpkin with a pumpkin patch? This is a play on words because a patch has two meanings. If my shirt has a hole, I can put a patch on it. Pumpkins, the big orange things that we have at Thanksgiving and Halloween, grow in a pumpkin patch. If you have a whole bunch of pumpkin plants, we call it a pumpkin patch. If my shirt has a hole, I can put a patch on it. So you can make a joke. You can have a play on words because patch has two meanings. How do you fix a cracked pumpkin with a pumpkin patch? It's kind of a dad joke too, by the way. And then the classic knock-knock joke. The knock-knock joke always follows this form. One person says knock knock. The other person says, who's there? In this joke, I would say tank, and they would say tank who? And I would say, you're welcome. So it's a play on the fact that tank you sounds like thank you. So tank who, thank you, has very similar sounds. It's not actually a very appropriate joke, though, because it's making fun of someone mispronouncing something. But I think we all understand how a knock-knock joke works. I'll tell you one more. If I say knock knock, and you say who's there, and I say who, and then you would respond and say who, and then I would say, is there an owl in here? An owl is a bird that says who. That's my sound effect for an owl. So you can make a knock-knock joke out of it like that. That's my favorite knock-knock joke, by the way. Don't be afraid of this next slide. Some people don't like clowns. A clown is someone who works maybe at a circus or at an event. At our farmer's market, there is sometimes a clown, and the clown makes little balloon animals and gives them to children and tries to make everyone happy. So a clown is someone who does silly things. If you go to a circus and there's a circus clown, they might have big shoes. They might ride a little tiny bike. A clown will do things to make you laugh. And we've used that word as well to talk about a class clown. A class clown is a student who's always being silly. This student is throwing a paper airplane. A class clown will often sit at the back. A class clown might make jokes about the teacher. The class clown might crack jokes all the time to other students. Some people in the chat, I won't mention names, are class clowns. In my lessons, they like to say funny things all the time. So a class clown is just a student who doesn't do a lot of learning and tries to make people laugh a lot. Then we also have something called a comic strip. Let me make this as big as I can. A comic strip usually is found in a newspaper. On Saturdays when I was a kid, there was a whole special section of the newspaper with comic strips in it. And one of them was called Garfield. You can see here that the comic strip has several panels or frames. And in each frame, something happens. Let's see here. Not sure I previewed this one. I'm going to have to make it bigger so we can read it. I'd like to have something different for dinner, like an opportunity to eat my own food. What is it with your birthday? What is it your birthday or something? So that's just a funny joke because Garfield the cat always eats his food. So I'm glad that was appropriate because I didn't preview that before I made the lesson. But a comic strip, sometimes now they are found on the internet or in a newspaper. So they're funny things to read that make you laugh.